feel?
I feel a little bit knackered. So I have been in bed for the last 4 days. I've had this weird flu thing that's going around. Nothing special, just this flu thing that seems to have wiped everybody out. And this video, I just filmed a video for YouTube on mental toughness, 5 ways to become more mentally tough. So it won't be out by the time you're watching this, but stay tuned. And I meant to record it a week ago, but I just couldn't. And what I was experiencing was like a pounding headache, shakes in my body, yet a really hot like temperature on my head and my feet, weirdly. And I thought it sort of cleared up, but yesterday I felt really like I was going to faint.
She was almost dead.
We were weirdly with a nurse at the time, an ex-nurse who'd been a nurse for 29 years, and she looked at me and just said, "You look grey." So I took that as a sign to sit down, and also as a sign to take things slower. So it's weird, like that took a lot of energy out of me, and I think it's good to, it's a challenge. It's a very difficult one to recognise the difference between discomfort and the only word I can think of is self-destruction. Sort of when you're causing yourself actual harm. It's a really challenging one to get right. You don't want to be lazy and slack, but you also don't want to push yourself too far. So I've been really conscious of that, but as somebody who doesn't relax much, 4 days of watching Bertie Gregory. He's got a great documentary on National Geographic, Disney Plus I think it is. We've been watching SES, Who Dares Wins. I've watched Celebrity Hunted about a season and a half. Just learning to accept the contrast, to enjoy the contrast and just sit and breathe. So whilst the recovery isn't as speedy as I'd have liked, I actually don't care. I'm just enjoying the contrast. I'm going to drive up to Glasgow in about, oh crikey, it's 1 o'clock. In 15 minutes, and I get on the road, drive up to Glasgow for 4.5 hours, stay there because I have got 3 days in Glasgow of workshops at University of Glasgow and University of Strathclyde. So I'll tell you more about them later. And then we're driving down for the weekend down to Durham, but not to have a lovely beachside holiday, although kind of. I'm working with Durham University all day on Saturday and all day on Sunday. So we're going to drive down late Friday night, get to this lovely caravan. I know, as soon as you think caravan, you don't think lovely, but it's overlooking the sea, looks beautiful. The reviews are insane, so I'm very excited and exactly what I need to just relax, to zen out. But we are going to get there late. Then I've got 3 2-hour sessions the next day, back to back, before sort of a 4-hour session the next day. But it should be fine. Then we'll be back here for a day, then I'm heading down to Kent for 3 days with another primary school, but that'll be a whole another vlog. We'll see how we get on, but I appreciate you joining us for the journey.
It's gonna be fun!
Woo!
The car is basically fully packed. Yeah, this is good stuff. Let's go. You ready to go? Let's roll. Just seen, well, we said, oh, do you want to stop somewhere when we see food? And then, literally 3 seconds later, we see this gorgeous place.
Right, which one are you going to go for? Cheers, my love. We have made it.
We have indeed.
To Scotland. How you doing, JB?
I'm doing alright. I'm doing good. I'm doing fabulous. I'm doing smashingly. I'm excited to get out of the car. Grateful that we got here in one piece. No hiccups, no errors. But ready to go.
Oh, this is so pretty. Oh my gosh, babe, the shower. Oh, yes, this is not doing justice.
Really nice, yeah.
We are knackered, and I'm not feeling amazing, But we're very grateful to be here. It is probably nearly 8 o'clock by now because we spent a while in Tesco's getting a bunch of stuff for the next 5 days. So, before we make it a mess, let's show you around.
There's no excuses, no one to blame. Sometimes I can understand how it can be so hard to stay out of pain.
This is the site of 2 dived individuals. But, look at this. Can't get through this side, which I'm definitely going to end up trying. You can't fit through. How weird is that?
So I could like do that, but
I love that they give him more space to the shower. Deary, deary me. So, as amazed as we were by the decor in the apartment last night, as we went to get comfy, get cozied up for the night, we realised the heating wasn't coming on. And when I went to wash my face before I went to bed, no hot water. And so we called the sort of out of hours team, no response. Tried to message them, no response. So we were like, okay, we're just gonna have to sort it in the morning. Got into bed and realised that there is a light right outside. You can see how bright it is. I know it's like light outside, but there is so many lights outside that window. And it's a really thin cream blind. So at night, it's pretty much like it's the daytime. So in here, oh, it was so bright. I knew I wouldn't be able to sleep. So this is what we did. We hung towels at the top and then put the mirror on the window ledge to block out some of the light. And then up here, we stacked loads of pillows, which are now on the bed. It's just such a shame because if this was my apartment, it's been done really nicely, but they're getting a company to sort of run it for them and Airbnb it for them, and there's like marks all over the walls. They evidently haven't topped up the meter. And it's just like, you just feel bad for the person behind it. And we hadn't realised, but the place that we stayed in last time was actually also run by the same company. And we thought the exact same thing. And I just had this weird feeling inside me that was like, this just doesn't feel right. And it just, yeah. And I guess like, as much as you want to stay positive about things, it's important to listen to your intuition and your gut. And like in both of these places, again, I didn't even know they were run by the same people. Just this, like, something's just not right. It just does not feel like a nice place to be. Just, I feel like I'm in some weird dream here. This is our view. But I'm about to log on to a meeting, so I shall see you afterwards. Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, I've got you.
Oh, great. Okay, thankfully, we finally managed to sort out the heating and the hot water. The meter was on 0, so we managed to fix that and sort it all out, and they've refunded us for the first night. So what do you know? And the outside noise is quickly becoming background noise. So we move. I've just been sat here for the last couple of hours. I had a meeting and then I've just been working on the 3 days of content that I'm having to put together for the work in Kent that I'm going to be going down to do. So I've just finished it and I'm really, really happy with it. So I am very excited about going to do that, but we've got to do this week first, which is totally different kind of work. It's sort of facilitating groups of up to 20, helping them sort of have a few revelations in the sense of how they view others and how they view themselves, which is super powerful when you get to sort of have that little bit of one-on-one. So I just had a meeting with the wonderful Jen, who might be working with me to do some PR and marketing-y type of things to bring these messages to even more people, which is so exciting and something that I know a lot about how to help people, but not about how to get in front of people outside of social media. So I'm really excited to see what she's going to come back with. We were just sort of getting to know each other and she's going to come back with a pitch. So that's really exciting. I've just finished getting ready to head out to the first workshop. Only 1 today, and then 2 tomorrow, and then 1 the next day, and then 3 the day after that, and then 2 the day after that. But we're starting off easy, which is good. It's always a weird one when you've got something coming up at the end of the day. I much prefer with gigs, especially like the bigger gigs. This is, as I said, facilitation, but with actual talks and workshops, I prefer doing them like 8:30, as soon as the kids start school or as soon as the day starts if it's in a workplace. Just because, first of all, it gets everyone else started fresh, like this is how we're thinking today, rather than dragging in all of the things that have gone on in their day into the session. But also it means it's not just like watching the clock, when do I need to leave, how much time do I have left, and sort of balancing everything around that. I much prefer getting things over and done with in the morning. Maybe that's why I wake up at 5. All the same, it's good experience in learning how you manage that. Why is the first thing that comes to mind impending doom? But impending something, right? This feeling of, and it's not anxiety, but just this awareness that something's coming. How you sort of deal with that and manage that is, yeah, it's a good lesson and good way to be self-aware. So we're going to get on the road in a second. It's only about 5 minutes away to a cafe where I'm meeting the contact, and then we'll get in, get set up and get done. I won't be able to bring you in with me because we go quite deep into sort of how the individuals feel personally, and so that's far too personal to share or even have a camera around that sort of situation. But yeah. And it is time to head off. Woo! Let's go.
Sorry, I'm too shaggy.
Oh my gosh, it is a frosty morning and our car does not do well in the cold, so this could be interesting, but we are facing forwards and we're on a hill and there's nothing in front of us. So hopefully if we have to push it, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. I actually can't believe it. It's like -3 outside. Our car does not start unless it's like midday. No, not even midday, like 2 PM. If it's been this cold, it needs like that much time for, oh, honestly. But it started, I don't know how. So I realised that I didn't film anything when I got back from the workshops last night. I mean, we got back about 8:30. I think we had 13 guys from boxing. It was a really, really interesting session. They're actually like so on top of things. It made my job quite difficult because I had to really think of questions to ask them. And today we've got men's rugby, which is going to be an interesting one. That is bright. But I get a beautiful glow on me. That was an interesting session. So for context, this is, yes, wellbeing stuff, but it's work that I do with a gender equality organisation called Beyond Equality. So the sessions are facilitated around the topics sex and healthy relationships, creating inclusive spaces, and also mental well-being. Today was with the men's rugby team. So men's rugby teams are often the ones that have really bad initiations, well, like really intense initiations that can go south really badly. So there's a lot of pressure to drink and drink a lot. There's also a lot of banter that can lead down the wrong way. An ability to understand people that are the same as them, so white, strong, male, straight. And so what we're doing is going in and getting them to think about people that maybe think differently or have different experiences, and how their club and their actions and their behaviours and their thought processes are impacting those people. So it was the stuff that we talked about today was definitely stuff that they haven't really thought about or spoken about before, which made it exciting from on my half, because yesterday they were doing all of it already. They were very aware of inclusion and diversity and all that good stuff, but here it was a bit like we're all the same, and it's like, statistically speaking, 100 people in one club are not going to be the same. You're not all going to be straight, you're not all going to like the same things, you're not going to want to drink. So yeah, I'm kind of feeling a little bit knackered, but we've just arrived at Tesco's. I had a very big Tesco's, so I think we're gonna pick up a few more bits to take back with us, and then have some lunch and rest up before tonight's session. our lunch. And I've got a really nice warm coffee because the place is taking its time to heat up again. The day before we drove here, I was sort of partially still like in bed with this like flu thing that's been going around, and I'd been in bed for like 3-4 days. And like being in a new place, going out and doing workshops and things like that makes you feel like you're that healthy version of you again. In this space today, in between the 2 workshops, I'm thinking to myself, I should be doing work. Actually, as Jordan was just explaining it, it's like a pit stop. The metaphor, there's like a car race, it goes for 24 hours, but it needs to have pit stops in order to be able to finish and to achieve that. And it's ridiculous to expect yourself either after a long week of work or after an illness or after an intense something or other. It's ridiculous to expect yourself to be at your normal level of energy and to keep on going. And that's why it's like that difficult paradox between, do you push through discomfort or is it actually gonna harm you in the long run? So I'm taking this time to breathe, and we are just going to get back into bed, put the joggers on and watch some sort of National Geographic programs, because even things like we watch SAS, Who Dares Wins and Hunted, and even though I really enjoy those and they're exciting, because I get very involved, this is why I can't watch horror films, my body already like adopts that stress response, right? These programs are meant to make you feel what the actors or participants are feeling, not to the full extent, but their emotions at least. And so having really high adrenaline or feelings of fear for the person that you're watching, it's not a good way to rest your body. So a little bit of self-awareness has reminded me that I pretty much need to get back into bed. So cheers to that. Also, something that I have recently learned is that apparently when we have these things out on display, like on a table or when watching TV, it's just like there on the sofa, you smile 30% less when these are in sight. And for some reason that stat has just stuck with me. If we're sat down to watch something, or I'm with Jordan and I want to like connect with him, I'll just put it outside, so it'll either be like under the duvet or on the back of the sofa. And it just really helps to be totally present. And then you also, on top of that, have to think about reaching to get it, rather than it just being there and you just turn it over when someone goes out the room or there's adverts. You actually, it's a conscious effort to remember where it is, to grab it and then go on it. So this
Ironic.
the mine's going underneath my pillow. We've just had a very early dinner, about 4:30. It is about 5 to 5, and I've got to be at the building where the workshop will be taking place at about 25 past. So we've got 30-35 minutes to get set up, find the room, actually get in case, because the contact isn't going to meet us there. We've just got to find it ourselves this time.
She made it! Hey!
Hello, baby.
How are you?
I am good. We have arrived at tonight's location. Last time we were in Glasgow, we realised on like the last day that we hadn't made the most of Glasgow at all. We hadn't been out to see anything really. So we decided, let's do something, but we didn't know what, and everything was either super expensive or we wouldn't be able to get parking or it was already booked up. So I went off to do my session 6 to 8, this was last time, and it was like Jordan was going to have a look and see what he could find, and he found a rooftop bar at the Radisson Red. So we did that last time.
It was so good.
It was. Thought, let's make it a little bit of a tradition. We'll go back, have the same drink. Just not time for the outdoor roof terrace because it's a little bit cold for that.
Let's roll.
Let's go.
The view is so good. You see all the lights, all the different stadiums and buildings and stuff. It's a nice vibe.
And this is very interesting because I think this is the most public place we've ever vlogged before.
Yep.
But you know what? Act confident and no one will question you. And on that note, I'm very thirsty, so I'm going to get a drink.
Let's go get a drink, baby. So basically we're currently on the hunt for chips, but not just any old chips, like not fish and chips, like chunky, thick, girthy chips.
They have to have the girth.
It's all about the girth.
If you're complaining about something, just think about how you'll feel if it wasn't there. And also think, how will I remember this? Because when we were at the flat last time, there were lots of things that were wrong with it. But now, being in the place that we're at, all we can think of is being back at that other flat.
It's like a relationship. You know when you break up with someone? When you break up with someone and then it's like it's been a week or month or whatever, all you can think about is all the good times and how you miss them so much. Because your brain, for some reason, only kind of puts forward the good memories and filters out all the bad.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like what we're doing here. With this flat, we only remember looking at the view, we only remember the porch.
Hey.
Thank
Nice,
you.
we're getting a better seat in the house.
I don't think it does it justice, but it is very nice.
No, not at all.
Put that away. Oh, they stink.
I am back home getting everything warm while Jordan tries to park, but he's been out there for quite a while now, and I've just seen him drive past, and he doesn't seem to be having any luck. It's absolutely packed out there. So I've taken the ice cream out the fridge. I've taken the ice cream out the freezer, and I have got some decaf coffees and they're heating up. So hopefully by the time he does make it in, it'll be a nice little surprise for him. But in the meantime, I'm going to do a little bit of journaling while I wait and sit at the window in case, because my phone's in the car, it's slipped down. It's a weird old feeling not having your phone. And a feeling that I feel like we should get used to more often, that we should experience more often, because as soon as we're left sort of by ourselves in any scenario, or in a scenario where we feel a little bit lonely or like we don't know what to do with our hands, we just pull out our phone and we start scrolling and we start searching for things. Here he is, he's running up now. Let me just go and give him the keys. And actually it means that we stop having conversations with ourselves, we stop actually taking time to think for ourselves how we feel, and talking to ourselves. But Jordan is back now, so I'm glad he found somewhere to park. It has certainly been an interesting morning. I got a response back from one of the publishers that I had sent my sample and book proposal to, and sadly, whilst the senior editor was keen on it, the rest of the team didn't think it was right for their list of books for the coming year. So I'm trying to get in contact with the senior editor again and seeing if we can have a little chat, see what they're looking for. But obviously, when that sort of happens, it gives you a little bit of a dent to your confidence, or makes you think, did I do something wrong? And it's quite a vulnerable thing, like sharing something you've written. And the bit that I'd written was the deep, dark depths of personal embarrassment, because that was what the book was about. But it's quite an out there topic, and we'll see. So that's been a bit of a shift, because the plan was publish the book, and that's a big launch into the area, having a good grounding in the UK in self-development and mindset, whereas now it's okay, well, where do we go from here? So Jordan and I have been having a little bit of a brainstorm. It is nearly time for me to head off to my final session. So we're getting everything packed up, because next time I see Jordan, he will be meeting me at the venue, and we'll be heading off to Durham. Isn't that right, my love?
Let's go, baby.
So, do you know what? I was thinking earlier, as weird as this experience has been, it's taken a while to get used to the flat.
Mm-hmm.
And like when we walked in, it was obviously like very cold and like felt almost as though it hadn't been lived in, and whoever had lived in it before didn't really treat it very well. As I've got like a better sense of the place, like I feel like I'm gonna have good memories of it.
Yeah.
It is 10 past midnight and we've just arrived at our caravan, our next Airbnb. It's safe to say we're shattered. Jordan did a very good job of driving. It was about 3 hours, 3.5 hours. So I think it's time for a good night's sleep for the both of us. Good morning. It is 7:30 and we've just woken up in the caravan, and honestly I had the best night's sleep. It was such a comfy bed. It was warm. Well, by the time we arrived it was -3 outside, and I mean nobody's had been in the caravan throughout the day, so it was freezing, but it gradually warmed up, and when we woke up it was just so comfy. And I've just come to the main part of the caravan, the living area of the caravan, and the view is incredible, especially with the sunrise, so I thought I'd show you. Just left the caravan and we are on our way to Durham University for today's workshop. It is 11:30 and I have just left Durham College because it's cancelled. They didn't get enough sign-ups for the first one, and the second session there are only 2 people currently signed up to it, which is like, is there any point in doing it? We might as well move it, like move those 2 people to the 5:30 session, and then we can have a big session all together, which always works a lot better. This trip has definitely been one that hasn't gone to plan, that hasn't gone as expected, and it's just yet another reminder of don't have expectations, right? You can have desires, you can have wishes, but just as soon as you have expectations that something's going to be really nice, something's going to go to plan, that X, Y, or Z is going to happen, just always make sure that you've got 25% of your headspace recognising that all of that might go to pot, because this is life, and life isn't hard, it just changes. Life just doesn't always go the way that we plan for it to go, and then we call it hard or difficult, but actually it just is, and the only reason why we find it difficult or hard is because of our expectations prior to that thing going wrong. So if we didn't have them, maybe nothing would go wrong. We are reunited once again. it has been quite the wild ride since leaving our house 4 days ago. The session last night went really, really well, and we came back and had a really nice evening, had some red wine. This morning I woke up to a message saying that today's session is cancelled as well because of attendance issues. So we're now heading off. It is just coming up to like 11, which is when we need to be out for, so it means we get to go home and I get to have at least 24 hours at home before I have to leave again to go to Kent. It's been an interesting one, from finding out that I didn't get the book deal to having the issues with the heating and the hot water, and then all of these sessions being cancelled and a few bits and bobs back home with my family, issues there, and being ill as well. So many things have sort of made this trip different or challenging in different ways. I used to say, give me a sort of a curveball once every 3 months, because it tells you where your mind is at. And something I've realised throughout the last few days is that when your mind is feeling mentally weak, that's okay. If you're feeling weak emotionally and you feel like the smallest thing can make you cry, not because it really is a bad thing, but just because you're a little bit emotional or feeling like you could be triggered quite easily, then just being aware of that helps you to manage those thoughts and helps you to know what you should do with your mind to actually not think about that thing, because it will probably trigger you because you don't have a strong enough mind in that moment to focus on the positives, and that's okay. So something I used to say is just keep it neutral. If you can't see the good in something because it feels so bad, just keep it neutral. Just focus on the facts and just see it for what it is, just something that's happened, as opposed to having a label on it saying it's good or bad. So just something to be mindful of there. But I'm currently sitting on the window seat, saying goodbye to the view, because we're going to be heading off very, very shortly. Just locked up and we are on our way home. So this will mark the end of the video, and I'll see you in the next vlog, where I'll be on my way to Kent, which will literally be tomorrow. And for you, you'll be staying at home, won't you?
Yes.
So this has been Jordan's last trip.
My
for me,
little
this was
trip away.
Yes. This was my like middle trip, and I got one more. And I'm very excited about it. See you next time. I appreciate you.